Hi there, folks. Welcome to the Rosera Network. I'm Rich Walker, and with me is Dan Webb.
Hello, everyone. How's it going?
Hello.
How's it going, Rich?
Yeah, good. We've both played and finished Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
In a weekend, shall I point out?
In a weekend.
We absolutely blitzed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's time to sort of mull over our thoughts, go through them, make sense of it.
Exactly, because your review is on the site, but we haven't had a conversation about this in the office yet. Because obviously everyone in the office, and we don't want to talk about spoilers.
Exactly.
And there will be no spoilers here.
No spoilers.
For the most part, Rich, you enjoyed it, right?
I did. It was a rocky start for me because I'm not a big sort of Souls-like guy. And
it surprised me how much of a Souls game it was.
Yeah, I mean, the mechanics are very, very reminiscent of a Souls game. There are even kind of elements of Sekiro in this, with the sort of posture bar where you can break down an enemy's guard.
Yeah.
And then they open up and you can kind of occasionally finish them off. There are instances where you don't get a finishing move as a payoff.
No, which I found a little bit odd.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you think about it, right, it had elements of Dark Souls, it had elements of Tomb Raider, it had elements of like loads of little kind of games, and it's almost like a greatest hits of all the other games together. It does nothing truly unique on its own.
Well, it sort of feels like it's two games almost bolted together. So you've got kind of this Souls-like combat, which is more accessible, I have to say. It's not as hard as a Souls game, really. Although it is challenging in its own right. But then the other half is this kind of Uncharted/Tomb Raider thing where you're exploring and traversing these environments.
Yeah, and there's the Metroidvania mechanics in it as well. You're going back, there's like 6 planets, but you go back and forth between the main 3. Once you've got new abilities, you open up new areas.
There's a main 4, right? There's 4 main planets.
I would say 3.
Well, no, you got Bogano, Zepho,
Kashyyyk, I wasn't really thinking about Bogano.
Yeah, so you got those 4. And then there's another planet, there's a snowy planet that you visit briefly, and you can return to, and then there's another one. I'm not going to say anything about that. And you start on Braca as well, but you can't go back there. You start out as Cal Kestis, who's a surviving Jedi in the wake of Order 66. He's laying low as a scrapper cutting up Republic ships, right? Starships?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
And he's kind of suppressed his connection to the Force. And so he's on the run, and he starts to remember his old abilities, right?
Yeah, it's set between episode 3 and episode 4, and it's basically Jedis are being hunted down, they're on the run, and you're basically on the run. And then it almost starts to set up a new hope, right? In terms of let's seek out this new order, because that's what it's about, right? Trying to rebuild the Jedi Order.
Well, you're trying to find a kind of doohickey that would reveal the locations of Force-sensitive kids, right?
Yeah.
To try and rebuild the Jedi Order. And it's an interesting story. I thought it was a good story. I enjoyed
it because I thought it was quite simple as well. You're looking for something and you're just going around all the galaxy trying to get it. Like sci-fi games and films can be a little bit wishy-washy in terms of, you need to get this and then this, and it's like, what is the actual plot? Whereas if you can boil a plot down in like a sentence, I always feel like that's a good plot.
Well, that's
and then
a great thing.
It's like intricacies elsewhere.
It's got its MacGuffin, its central MacGuffin, and that's really all you need. And then the gameplay kind of does all the rest.
I enjoyed the gameplay a lot.
Really, really enjoyed it.
The parry system, like the parry system's great. Just in terms of the progression as well, the pacing of the game is almost spot on. It's like, here you'll get a double lightsaber, and then you'll get a new special move like a double jump, and then you'll get, and it just opens up almost perfectly at the right time as well. Like every time it brings something in, it does it before the game starts to feel stale, right?
Well, it can be kind of frustrating in the beginning because you can see
of
where you can do a certain thing. You're like, just give me that ability already. But you're right, they Respawn kind of know when to give you a new ability, and it's always at the right time, just as things are starting to, I wouldn't say stale, but sort of get a bit
repetitive.
I want something new now, and they're like, all right then, here you go.
Here's Force push, and here's Force pull. Things like just general things like that, basically. But I enjoyed it for the most part. I think my biggest criticisms come technically. And I think that's where everybody's big criticisms come from. There's so many bugs. The load times are agonising.
No fast travel.
No fast travel as well, which is which is weird.
Well, it's funny because you, me, and Josh in the office, we all finished it, and we all seem to have our own little gripes and bugs that no one else seemed to have. So you had those weird sort of hanging loading bits, which I didn't experience. But then I had a bit on Dathomir where I was entering a temple and it hadn't loaded what was on the other side of this door. So it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So I had to go away for ages, come back and hope that it reappeared. And thankfully it did, but that's a weird bug.
Yeah, Josh fell through the map. I fell through the map and hadn't saved at a meditation point, aka a Dark Souls bonfire, in about half an hour. Yeah, and then when I had to, because I couldn't do anything, I was just endlessly falling. So when I reloaded the game, I was back. I was at the beginning. Is it Ilum?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I got to Ilum and I did that puzzle, and as I was doing the puzzle, I just fell through the map.
So that's rotten luck, that is.
And I just feel like with the no fast travel, this is what Dark Souls does perfectly. Actually, most Souls-like games these days, where you're never retreading the same areas, really. Yeah. The only time you're doing that is if you die and you're running through it to get back to where you were. But this, right, you'll fight your way all the way through to the end, to a temple, and then you have to go all the way back out. And I feel like that is one of the game's issues, that it's almost like artificially lengthening the experience in gameplay that is very... That's when it starts to get repetitive, I think.
It's especially time-consuming when you're going back and you're trying to find like the secrets and hidden chests and things. And
I find it quite confusing, the map.
Well, I mean, the hollow map can be confusing, and also some of the maps are enormous.
Yeah.
I mean, they're massive. Like Kashyyyk, for instance, is about 5 or 6 different areas, and they're all really far apart. I mean, you unlock doors and ropes that you can drop down for shortcuts.
But they're not massive, the shortcuts.
Exactly.
Right?
You still got to traipse through a lot of the level.
Yeah.
Like, I went all the way back through Kashyyyk and ended up having to climb the massive tree and everything all over again.
Yeah, and I did that,
and then the stuff.
And then I got to the top, and I was like, the only way back to where I need to go, I have to go all the way back down the tree, and then all the way up and back the same way through the refinery, and I'm like, that's a bit shit, to be honest.
It's a bit nutty.
And that's what From Software do perfectly with Dark Souls games, that the shortcuts, like you'll go round in a circle effectively, and then the shortcut brings you right back out at the beginning, and then you start in like a hub area. I feel like Respawn didn't really get that right with this.
Well, the levels, I guess, are more sort of linear in their kind of construction, I guess. Although they're kind of almost kind of circular, but there's not that hub sort of centre to it, if that makes sense.
But I guess like you think about Dark Souls games, and I know we keep banging on about Dark Souls, but fuck me, it is a Dark Souls game.
Kind of. Yeah.
But they don't really have massive hub areas.
Right.
But also the ability to fast travel in a game like that means that you're not retreading the same ground hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And I think that's my biggest criticism of the game. That just retreading the same ground.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Devil May Cry 4. Remember, when you fought you all the way to the end, and then you have to fight all your way back, and it's like, what?
But I would say that at least you got some nice scenery to look at.
Oh, it is. It's a good-looking game. Frame rate's a bit all over the place. Obviously, you can, if you're on the 1X or the Pro, you can have it on performance mode. But I mean, why would you play performance mode when you can see the 4K beautiful visuals?
Exactly. If you got a 4K telly, you want to make use of it, don't you?
Combat is great. I thought it wasn't responsive enough to be a proper Dark Souls game.
Okay.
Dark Souls games that if you're hitting block,
right,
you'll instantly block. If you hit and roll, you'll roll instantly. There's a slight delay on actions and little weird things like that. For me, anyway, that's what I found. From I'm a pretty hardcore Dark Souls player to something like this, you can notice the differences between the two engines.
Well, because I was reviewing it, and because I'm not very good at Souls games, generally speaking, I played on Jedi Knight difficulty, which is the default. You played on Jedi Master, and I wonder if it's because your parry window was slightly tighter that it felt.
But that's what I mean. It's trying to be a Dark Souls game, but then not having the tightness in the engine. That's the thing with From Software games. From Software games, Sekiro, whichever you want to say, that is super tight. When you're doing a dodge, you know your dodge, and you know your invincibility frames. That if you went in for a Dark Souls experience, yes, it is, but it's also kind of an action game as well.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of a hybrid, a little bit like Code Vein.
Right.
A lot easier than Code Vein as well.
Yeah.
I didn't die many times in this. The times I died in it on Jedi master difficulty, not that even the top one, was just me being greedy, treating it like an action game.
Well, yeah.
But I think maybe a difficulty down for me, I would have treated it more like an action game and less like a Dark Souls game, but I had to treat it like a Dark Souls game. I feel like
you'd have probably breezed through this on the difficulty I went for, I imagine.
Yeah, and the boss fights in it were great as well. I would have liked more of those.
There was one boss fight I didn't like, the Dathomir one. That one bugged me.
I thought it was great.
Rough.
Yeah, but that's also because it's teaching you one thing throughout the game,
and then it throws out the rule book.
Yeah, it
that
does.
Was my issue
and
with
then
it.
That's it. Then it never uses that again.
Yeah, which I just found that odd. I was like, oh come on, I've learned all these rules. I've learned my parry timing and everything. It's like none of that matters.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But yeah, for the most part, I genuinely hope that it's the start of a new franchise.
Definitely, because this is really good fun. I came away really enjoying it. I mean, it's the mark of a good game when I finish it and I want to keep playing it and I want 100% it and do everything.
It's the best Star Wars game, single player Star Wars game since
in a long time.
KOTOR,
possibly.
I would say it's better than The Force Unleashed, the first one, which was good. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I would say it's better than that. I would say, like, I guess, could it be arguably the best Star Wars action game, single player?
Potentially. I mean, that sounds a bit hyperbole,
but
I
can't think of another one that's as good as that.
I think it's fair.
And you know what? The thing that, to kind of finish on this, that struck me most about the game, this is an EA published game made by Respawn.
Yeah.
Who Respawn are making Apex, a free-to-play game. This is the most anti-EA policy game that EA ever kind of produced.
There are no loot boxes.
Every
single chest in there is just a thing you find in the game and you discover it. And there's so many cool things. There's like different outfits. There's different ship skins. There's different skins for BD1. There's lightsaber colours, There's components, and you can mix and match.
Colours, right?
No, you unlock those a different way later on, don't you? There's components though, and you can mix and match any lightsaber part from the emitter, the sleeve, the switch, and you can totally make your own lightsaber, different materials and stuff. It's really, really cool.
But like a single player, no microtransaction, limited game, because it's the kind of game that you play, you beat, you move on.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember the last time EA did a game like that, really.
No. Not really.
Which is refreshing.
Maybe Mirror's Edge Catalyst,
yeah,
possibly?
I would say. Did that have multiplayer?
I don't think it did.
Did it not? Because the first one did. Time trials and stuff.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, it did. Because remember we streamed it and I failed on the world record, but I jumped missing the grab at the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, folks, it's a very good game. We both enjoyed it very much.
Really enjoyed it.
A nice, 15-hour experience, I'd say.
I'd say, yeah. Thereabouts.
Yeah, so do check it out, because hopefully the more people that buy it, the more EA will go, oh look, people really do want single-player experiences. Yeah. Let's put all that money into Mass Effect and Dragon Age now. And
let's make another Star Wars Jedi game.
That's it. That's the dream. But folks, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Cheers, folks. Bye.
Bye.